grows golden under the dry season sun, and the hills roll like sleeping lions, there lived a young shepherd boy named David. The people of Judah called this land home, a land of prayer, of courage, and of covenant. But beyond the far valley in Gathmtukyu lived the Philistines, a fierce nation proud of their shields and boasting in their weapons. Between them lay the valley of Elah, steep and silent, waiting. For 40 long days and 40 long nights, not a single warrior dared step forward. For in that valley stood a giant no man wished to face. But far from the battlefield, David tended his father's flock. He was the youngest of 8 sons in the house of Jesse. His brothers were tall and broad-shouldered, soldiers of the king. David was small of frame, but steady of heart, and every morning before the sun climbed over the hills, he led the goats and sheep out to pasture. The sound of goat bells mingled with the first call of the Hadadah ibis, and David's voice carried across the fields as he sang praises to the Most High. When the air grew hot, he would rest beneath the shade of an acacia and play his nyatati, the music floating over the savannah, and the birds perched nearby as though listening. Do not think the shepherd's life was easy. One day a lion sprang from the tall grass and seized a lamb. But David did not run. He swung his sling with boldness, and the stone struck the beast's jaw and sent it fleeing. Another time a great brown bear descended from the highlands and roared so loudly even the goats trembled. Yet David seized it by the jaw and struck it until it fled. And the old men of the village said, "When a boy faces lions and bears, he becomes a man before his time." But David's strength lay not in his arm, but in his faith. One morning his father Jesse called him home. "My son," he said, "your brothers are with the king's army in the valley of Elah. Take this roasted maize, this dried tilapia, and these millet cakes. See how they fare and bring me word." And so David set out along the dusty road, past fields of sorghum and the winding river, greeting villagers under the baobab and singing as he walked. For some journeys begin with bread in a basket and end with destiny in the palm of the hand. When David reached the camp, the air was heavy. Even the bravest soldiers sharpened their spears with trembling hands. Then came the voice, deep, thunderous, shaking the ground beneath their feet. It was Goliath of Gathmtukyu, as tall as a palm tree and broad as the trunk of a baobab. His spear was like a young tree, his shield the size of a hut door. "Choose a man to fight me," he roared. "If he kills me, we will serve you. But if I win, you will serve us." Morning and evening for 40 days that valley echoed with his challenge, and every man of Judah fell silent. But David heard, and his heart burned within him. "Who is this man who insults the armies of the living God?" he said. Though some laughed and told him to go home, courage does not measure height, it measures faith. Soon he was brought before King Saul. "You are only a youth," the king said. "He has been a warrior from his youth." But David answered, "When lions and bears came from my father's flock, I struck them down. The Lord who saved me then will save me now." The king consented and tried to place his armor on David, but the boy could not move beneath its weight. "I cannot fight in these," he said. "They are not my own." So David walked to the river, knelt and chose 5 smooth stones, one for the lion, one for the bear, one for the giant, and 2 for whatever else might come. Then he stepped into the valley. Goliath laughed when he saw him. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Come, and I will feed you to the vultures." But David called out, "You come with sword and spear, but I come in the name of the Lord Almighty, and today he will hand you over to me." The giant advanced. David ran forward. His sling swung once, twice, thrice, and the stone flew, striking the giant's forehead. Goliath staggered and fell face first into the dust of the valley. And the warriors of Judah lifted a great shout, for the Lord had given them victory. From that day, the name of David was carried from village to village, from the mountains to the sea. Women sang as they pounded grain, "Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands." Yet David did not seek glory. He fought with wisdom, served with humility, and gave thanks after every battle. And the elders said, "He fights like a warrior, but rules like a shepherd." In time, the prophet Samuel came to the house of Jesse. Among his brothers in the quiet courtyard of the homestead, Samuel poured oil on David's head and spoke, "You are the one the Lord has chosen. From this day forward, his spirit rests upon you. You shall be shepherd no longer, but king over his people. The drums of the villagers echoed into the night, and even the stars seemed to brighten, as if heaven itself were rejoicing. So remember this, sons and daughters of the land. A heart that trusts God can turn a sling into a sword, a stone into a crown, and a shepherd into a king. When fear stands tall like a giant before you, do not tremble. Reach into the river of faith, take up your stone, lift your voice to the Almighty, and let courage fly. For the same God who was with David of Bethlehem Caribou still walks with those who believe today. And so the story is told, and so the lesson remains. May it be strength to your